Eric, last week I wasn't able to be here, but you kind of gave us all your thoughts with Fire Emblem Three Houses. And before I just jump into kind of my thoughts thus far, I'm about 30 hours in. Is there anything you want to like add on top of that, or anything that kind of shifted your opinion from last week?
You're 30 hours into the game.
Yes,
you're ahead of me.
Okay.
You're ahead of me very much. But I mean, no, my opinion really hasn't changed, and it might my thoughts might lead into what our last topic is. But I'm kind of someone that likes the in and out battles type of deal, and I give exceptions sometimes to like games like Tactics Ogre and Final Fantasy Tactics, though their battles are long also, but the payoff is a lot better because the transition to pivotal parts of the story are right after. And I feel like with something like Fire Emblem Three Houses, while it's not a bad system by any means, but in my own personal taste, it's hard to take in the entire game when there's a lot of small menial stuff I have to do to get to the main parts of the story. And it's not that bad. It's just as someone who really wants to get into the heart of the story, I feel like it's just held back a lot by a lot of stuff, menial tasks that you have to do before it. So at this point, I've pretty much been hitting the auto instruct button to get to parts of the story as fast as I can and do the stuff that's necessary. Like I'm stopping by and doing like the small side quests you do within the monastery because they're not hard and they're quick to do. But it's still a good game. It's just something that it's a little slower for me than other games just because of the nature of it. I was kind of the same way with Persona 4 when that came out, and I never finished Persona 5. And I took it in short spurts because there's a lot of small stuff you have to do in between getting the dungeon content and stuff like that. But like I said, none of it's bad. It's just the Persona aspects are just a little weighing in on me.
Here's the thing that I've noticed, and well, before I say that, I'll just say quickly, I'm enjoying this game a lot more than I thought I would. So let me just start off by saying that, like, I'm really liking the game. I'm really liking it a lot. I wouldn't have put as much time as I have since I bought it. I'm about 30 hours in, and I wouldn't have put that much time in thus far if I hadn't been enjoying it. But you bring up that Persona 4 aspect, and it's weird because Persona 4 I had a difficult time with, and I think that the reason I had a difficult time with it is because it stressed like the social links and like the going to school and doing all the side stuff. I feel like that game stressed that stuff equally as much as a story. Whereas in this game, it feels maybe like 25% where like, okay, like if you don't do that stuff, you're not really getting the full experience, but at the same time, it's not as important. So when I was playing Persona 4, I would get really exhausted going to basketball practice, and I was on the drama club, and like I was like, dude, I do not care about any of this stuff, right? Yeah. But I just did not want to keep doing that stuff. I just wanted to get back to the story, but I felt like this, like I was missing something if I did not do that stuff. Whereas in Fire Emblem Three Houses, it's not quite as bad. Like I feel like it's, if you want to delve into that stuff, it's there, and it is decently enjoyable to. You know, it ranges depending on, you know, what you involve yourself in. But, you know, some of it's pretty fun. But sometimes when I just want to progress the story, I'm just like, okay, I don't mind missing this little social link. I don't mind. And it's I feel like it's a little bit better balanced for me. I'm not trying to say that this game's better than Persona 4 or anything like that, because I know at this point Persona 4 is some of people's most cherished game. But for me personally, I like the way that Fire Emblem Three Houses is kind of handling those social links and like the balancing of it. Now, granted, I am not like I haven't played like all 16 Fire Emblem games, so it's not like I'm some kind of Fire Emblem expert, so maybe I'm coming at this from a different angle, but I've really liked the game thus far. I do have some things I don't like about it and some things I do like. I think just getting some of the stuff I don't like. And this is something you brought up, Eric, when you choose to explore the monastery, because basically, give you a quick rundown for people that have not played the game. You get a little calendar, and every weekend you get some time off, and you can choose to either run around the monastery or you can go battle, or there's some other stuff you can do sometimes. And if you choose to explore the monastery, there's going to be side quests that you can do, and there's going to be other, little social link activities you can do. And then there's also going to be just talking to the various members in this world. And all that stuff's really, really good. But when I do choose to explore the monastery, I feel really obligated to just talk to everyone. Now that's different from I don't always feel obligated to choose to explore the monastery. I do battle more than I choose to explore. But when I do explore the monastery, I just feel like I'm supposed to talk to every single person on the entire, all the maps. And even though you can fast travel, that just sometimes just takes forever to talk to every single person. But, sometimes there's someone who has some dialogue that I'm like, well, I'm glad I talked to you. And so that part, I feel like they could have done it a little bit better.
I will give. I mean, if I want to be on the positive side,
yeah,
the combat's great. I mean, I really enjoy the combat, and I like the class systems that you can upgrade them to. That aspect is really nice, and the the story is pretty good. I mean, from when, like I said, I don't like when I have to keep going through menial stuff all the time to get to that point, but when I do get to that point, I enjoyed the story aspects. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be some generic type of thing, but I was surprised on the themes and everything. The writing's not spectacular, but at the same time, it's the story and themes of it are good, or what's going on in the story is really cool.
Yeah.
The one thing I really wish they brought to this game, and I'm disappointed they didn't, because I really thought they were going to, with seeing how your character can run around in an environment, was I thought they were going to bring back explorable dungeons from Fire Emblem Echoes, the game that came out before this.
Yeah.
And that would have been really awesome. They have the setup and everything for it, but
it is.
I didn't use it.
Yeah. It's kind of weird because it's almost deceiving the way this game slowly unravels. And with the map, with the monastery, it starts you off with only being able to explore a very small portion of it. And then, as the months progress, you get to explore more and more and more and more. And the place keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And so it leaves you feeling everything's very large. But after a while, you start to realize this is kind of small. But granted, I could conceivably still only be a third through the game. But having some more options to explore some of the dungeons, like you mentioned, would have been really, really cool. I mean, honestly, though, the presentation's top notch. I find the animation's really good. The music, for the most part, is really good. I think
they still use the. I was wondering if you could tell me this. Do they keep using the same battle theme up to your point? Because I like that battle theme they have.
Dude, it's so catchy.
It is. It's very catchy, and I really like it. But do they have more? Just more normal battle themes, not I know there's those important.
I think that's the normal. Yeah. So from what I've noticed, that main battle theme that you're talking about, I've noticed that is the battle theme that's used in most battles that you would choose to fight, right? But then for some of the story focused battles, they'll use some different music. So, but yeah, it is kind of repetitive in that, they don't have more options, I guess, especially since these battles sometimes take a really long time to get through. If you're trying to be strategic with how you position your people, and you're not trying to have one character that's level 50 and everyone else is level 5. right? You're trying to get everyone to level up. The battles can take a long time. So, but yeah. But one thing I do really like about this game that I'm surprised about is um, all my cast of characters, because I chose the Black Eagle or whatever house.
Yeah, right.
Is that what you chose too?
Yeah, that's what I chose also.
Yeah, I was dude, I was stressing out about what house I was going to pick. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to pick the one that I want to pick, and that's the one I picked. So far I'm glad because my two favorite characters thus far is Edelgard, which is like the princess type character, and then Rhea, who's like the head of the monastery or church. The reason I like Edelgard, I'm not going to get into spoilers or anything, but in this world of three houses, there's this idea that if you're going to rule your country or whatever, it doesn't matter who you are, nobility or you're a commoner. If you go to this school, then you are basically level with everyone else. There's no status. So you as the professor are literally teaching this person that's going to be the queen, right? And yet you're sticking her through all these battles where she could get killed and stuff. And most of the battles, they say if she dies, like the game's over. So it's not like, they don't go fully through with that in the story, but it's really interesting, that idea of having somebody that's that high up in the nobility chain being, able to talk with and, get to know people that are essentially like peasants. It's very, very interesting. If you click the menu in the game during exploring the monastery, you can click support, and it has all these story sequences where you see characters interacting. And she has some really good scenes with some of the other people in the party that like really makes her really, really interesting. So I like her on that front. And then Rhea, who's like the head of the monastery of the church, I find her really, really interesting because she comes across as so nice, but then like she'll do stuff that's like, I'm just like, I don't know. That seems kind of evil. But it's always in this like gray area where like maybe it's not evil, but I kind of feel like I wouldn't have done that. And then she'll look back,
evil, right?
Yeah, and then she'll look at you and smile, and you're like, I don't.
Maybe it'll be like, I don't know, Fates, where it's all a big spooky dragon at the end.
Well, I hope not. But it's just like, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about her. I'm like, I don't quite trust you. So there's this like element with that, with the characters that I really like. And when you go to talk to everyone else in your party and such, they all have such distinct personalities, and they give a different take on the world. And that's like another thing I like with this game is just like how gently they introduce the world to you instead of, toppling you over the head with like 80 pages of back history with in 1200 King Jojo took over. Like they don't really do that too much. It's just like, okay, here's a battle coming up. Here's what you need to know about the battle. Here's kind of a quick background of that. And then afterwards, they'll feed you a little bit more information. You can talk to some other NPCs and kind of flesh out the world, but they're not like beating you over the head with like pages and pages of just this lore. It feeds it to you in a very well-paced manner. So,
and you don't need it to understand the main story either, because the main story is still very in its very own contained space. So, like, if you missed out on some lore or something, like, it's good if you want to enrich yourself in the world's lore, but you're not going to lose sight of what the main story is in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's very well balanced to a point where you can almost choose to play it how you want. I won't say you can't avoid the monastery portions altogether. That unfortunately sometimes you do have to do, and for some people they won't enjoy that, but it's not that bad. As I have noticed that usually it takes me about a half hour to like really get in the groove of playing the game, and as long as I can get through that first half hour, I'll be in, for like a 2.5 hours or a longer stretch of time. But I do get really, really tired of. Like, for example, one of the side quests, most of the side quests are just dumb. Like, like, hey, go deliver this. Hey, go bring this to this person. They have all these like little dumb little things like, hey, you found all these lost items. Now go ask everyone in the game if if this is theirs. And I guess what you're supposed to do is read the description, and it says something like, for people that like cookies, and then you're supposed to guess by which character would like cookies. No, like I just choose every single item. And I'm like, okay, you didn't, none of these are yours. Okay, next person. None of these are yours. Okay, next person. And it's just like, maybe that's not the way you're supposed to play it, but like those types of like quests just eat me alive. Like I'm just like, cannot wait to get past this part. And then we get back into the regular game and I'm like, this is awesome. I'm enjoying this.
For the professor, why are we working for the affection of the students? Why isn't the other way around?
I know, right? Wait, I have to bring this up. For the persona type elements, there's this really weird like social link thing that gets offered sometimes. I can do it anytime I want now.
Tea party.
Yes. The tea time is so freaking awkward. Like, have you done it yet?
Yeah, I
it's
picked
awkward.
Dorothea. I picked Dorothea as the first one. And the immediate question I have is like, so do you have any future guy in your life? I'm like, whoa, hey, Violet, you want to take it easy, take it a little slow. Like, you're immediately trying to get into her pants or something. It's like at a tea party, just have a nice conversation, and then you can slowly work your way into getting more dates. It's like, no.
Yeah, so
I think it's pretty odd to begin with. I think ultimately, like, it's good to be like friends with like, like your teachers and such, but there still needs to be like a professional relationship with your students.
Yeah,
like it's fun to go out and do like maybe have a night at the bar with something like to celebrate something.
Right.
But I mean, how often do you see teachers get very intimate with their students?
Well, and the thing about it is basically, okay, so the first time I think that I came across a tea time is we got to a day of the calendar and it was I'm trying to remember her name. I'm drawing a blank, but it was so-and-so's birthday. Do you want to buy her flowers or do you want to take her to tea time? And I was like, okay, let me try this tea time because I've never tried it before. So you're sitting there and it's got like, this thing will come up and it'll say, okay, laugh. And then you'll press Y for laugh. And then like you'll laugh or something and then she'll laugh. And then it'll be like, ask her a question. And you ask her a question, but she doesn't actually answer the question. It's just like she liked the question, but like she doesn't actually respond most of the time. Occasionally you'll get like a little like sentence like, oh yeah, I really wish I went to the ocean or something. But like, yeah, so far I've never actually learned anything more about it, which is very weird because most of the time you learn stuff about these characters, but in tea time, it's all about just like getting like emotional responses. And then like, if you get a perfect tea time afterwards, you can like extend the conversation. But at that point, it just keeps pressing like endless prompts, like, tell a joke X. Okay. Now like, compliment Y, tell a joke X, but you're not actually telling a joke. It's just like, she'll just laugh when you tell a joke. And like, I did it one time for like 2 minutes because I thought the first time I did it, I thought like it was going to be like a mini game. And soon they would post my score and tell me, okay, you got like a perfect score. But I really think this thing just keeps going on for like an hour and a half if you wanted to. And eventually I was just like, okay, we're done. We're done with tea time. But it was very, very weird.
It is very weird. I will say that. I mean, I've done it a few times. Like, I got that prompt too. It's like, it's her birthday. You want to go out for tea time? I'm like, I don't recognize the name, but I assumed it was someone in mine. I was like, yeah, okay. Then like someone from the other team, it's like I'm having tea time with them. I'm like, which character is this again? God, I can't remember.
But the thing is, that stuff's optional, right? So I've done tea time twice just to see if maybe I got a bad experience the first time. And I had the same exact experience the second time. So whenever I get that birthday prompt again, I'm just like, okay, I'm buying you flowers.
Well, the overall point to all that stuff is beneficial to your character stat growth in battle.
Yeah, it all ties together.
Yeah, what I wonder is how much does it affect? Like, if I do like the bare minimum, how much harder is it on me? Because I've been playing on normal mode, and I haven't had any real conflict. Now, granted, I'm like on chapter 5
Yeah,
right now,
what
so
what
I'm not that far in. But so far, I've not come across anything I would really consider hard.
one thing that one thing I've noticed with the battle system, because I'm playing it on normal as well with permadeath on, and I do wish it won't let me change it to hard. I do kind of wish I could change it to hard, but at the same time, it's not that the battles are easy, because I have had two instances where a character died and I had to rewind to go back. The reason my characters died those two times was just because I was trying to like get through the battle really quickly. So I was just being way too aggressive. And like, because I did that, I put my character in a spot where like six dudes could like gang up on that one character. And like I said, it's only happened twice. But if I'm cautious and I just, you know, approach a little bit of caution, I can pretty much come out of any battle unscathed. It's still really, really fun because of how many rewards the game gives you. Like, you have so many different like stats that just constantly level up, and it makes you feel like you're progressing. So it's cool on that front. But yeah, I do wish I had chosen hard. Apparently, there's going to be some kind of lunatic mode, which that might be an interesting way to play. But to your first comment, if you had done all the social links and stuff to bare minimum, what would be the difference? I haven't tried that necessarily, but I have tried cutting down on, going to the cafeteria and like making a meal and stuff. And I did notice that, when it came time to level up my characters, like teach them, they had less enthusiasm, basically enthusiasm points. And so I wasn't able to progress them as much as I wanted to. And I have noticed other things like less critical hits in the next battle and stuff like that. But I don't think I don't think it's really going to change the game in like a really substantive way. Because there's ways you can boost enthusiasm without having to do all that other stuff. So I don't
I
know.
have a feeling if something like lunatic mode, you have to like just really know what character needs what to succeed. That's what I was about to say. Shoot, uh, jump right past me. But no, never mind then. But
I do wish it would let you change the difficulty in the game. I thought you could, but I went to go change it and it was just grayed out. It said I couldn't change it to hard now, which was disappointing because
oh
if they
right, it's what I was gonna say was how I do my combat is I pretty much have Edel and have the professor tank.
right.
And when I hit them, they usually have low health, and I let the other characters come in and get final blows on all of them. Because like
That's
both of them are like level 12. Like she's like level 13, he's level 15. They're all like level 7 to 8. So I want them to get their EXP and then try to get as close to them as possible.
yeah, dude. Like my main character, the professor, right, and then Edelgard. Those two are such beasts. Like a lot of times, because they'll counterattack. A lot of times, I'll do the same thing where I'll just put them out there to be like a tank, and then another enemy will attack them, and then my character will just counterattack and kill them in one hit. And I'm like, God damn it! I was hoping to bring somebody else over to kind of swing in and take some of the experience points, but yeah, that's kind of the way I've been playing too. But I've been trying to balance it out a little bit and keep some of those characters back recently and put some of the other characters out there to kind of get them leveled up. Because, for example, Casper, I had him and I noticed he was like level 6 and like everyone else was like in their 20s. So I was just like, oh, I need to get him leveled up because he's going to end up dying if I keep letting this happen. So
I really don't have much use for them. Like I've made some use out of the other characters. Like I made Dorothea and Bernadette. Like bow users
Hmm.
with a little magic, and Hugo with the magic, and the purple haired girl I made into another sword user slash magic user. Like I've given them like most of them like a form of ranged that makes them all pretty useful. Casper is like the only one I've still made like a axe like more heavy damage type character, but I can't ever get him close enough to the enemies before the other ones just take him down.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I mean, thus far, I really, really like it. The it's definitely I'm definitely glad I bought it. I for me, it's a $60 purchase. I don't know if it's a $60 purchase if you've been a hardcore Fire Emblem fan for 20 years and now you didn't really like the last game, so you're being hesitant about this one. I don't know. You might have to just look at more Let's Plays and check that out. But for me, just kind of jumping in here, I'm really liking it. I think it's a really well balanced game, and thus far I like it.